Somewhere between 10 and 11 o'clock tonight, you are going to disappear. Not metaphorically, not for a photo op or a nap. You are going to lie down, close your eyes, and within minutes, the version of you watching this video right now will stop existing. Your name will mean nothing. Your job, your worries, the argument you had this morning, all of it will dissolve like sugar in water. And then, for the next few hours, something else is going to happen inside your skull. Something with no agreed upon explanation. Something scientists still argue about at conferences in hushed, slightly embarrassed tones. Because after 100 years of research, nobody can fully answer one simple question. Where does your consciousness actually go when you dream? You already know it happens. You felt it. You've woken up gasping from a fall that never occurred. You've cried real tears over a person who doesn't exist. You've had a conversation so vivid that for 3 full seconds after waking, you weren't sure which life was the real one. And then you shook it off, made coffee, and went on with your day, because that's what we do. We treat one of the strangest experiences a human being can have as background noise. Tonight, we're not going to do that. There's an old idea, older than medicine, older than psychology, that sleep and death are related. Not similar. Related like siblings. The Greeks gave them the same mother, hypnos and thanatos, sleep and death, born from the same womb, walking side by side. For a long time, this felt like poetry, a nice metaphor for people who didn't yet understand brain chemistry. But the closer you actually look at what happens to a human body every single night, the less like poetry it sounds. Your muscles go slack. In REM sleep, most of them are functionally paralyzed, deliberately shut off by your own brainstem so that you don't act out whatever your mind is currently doing. Your sense of time collapses, your identity, the tight defended sense of I that you carry through your waking hours, goes quiet. If someone could watch only your body and had no other information, they would have a hard time telling the difference between a sleeping person and a dead one. Breath slows, stillness sets in, the lights go out behind the eyes, and yet, underneath that stillness, your brain is doing something almost the opposite of dying. During certain stages of sleep, parts of your brain are more electrically active than they are while you're awake reading a book or driving a car. Researchers first stumbled onto this by accident, back when they assumed a sleeping brain would look like a sleeping brain, quiet, idle. Instead, they found bursts, spikes, entire storms of neural firing, a brain that looked on paper like it was working harder than ever. So which is it? Are you dying a small death every night, or are you doing the opposite? Running some kind of secret shift that only starts once the day shift clocks out? Maybe it's both. Maybe the reason sleep has always felt like death in every culture that ever wrote about it is because something in you really does end each night. Not your body. Something quieter. The version of yourself that needs to be defended, explained, maintained. The self you perform for other people all day long. That one dies a little every night, and what wakes up in the morning has to reassemble it from memory, piece by piece, like putting a puzzle back together using yesterday's photograph as a guide. Nobody tells you this happens. Nobody warns you that identity is this fragile, this repeatable, this much like a candle that gets blown out and relit 12 hours later using the exact same match. You just accept it, the way you accept gravity. But accepting a mystery isn't the same as understanding it. Here's where it gets stranger, because your brain isn't simply idling in the dark, waiting for morning. It's working. And what it's working on might be the reason you're capable of learning anything at all. Picture a musician who spends an afternoon failing to play one difficult passage cleanly, gives up, sleeps, and wakes up playing it perfectly on the first try. Ask almost any drummer, guitarist, or athlete, and they'll tell you some version of this happened to them. Nobody practiced in their sleep. So what actually improved? One leading theory says your brain spends the night quietly erasing things. Every experience you have during the day creates a new connection somewhere in your neural wiring, and by nightfall your brain is cluttered. If it kept every connection at full strength forever, you'd run out of room within days. So while you sleep, slow waves of electrical activity pass through your brain, over and over, weakening almost everything a little. The unimportant stuff fades out entirely, but the things you focused on hardest, the ones you cared about, don't fade nearly as much. Come morning, they're not louder because they got stronger. They're louder because everything around them got quieter. Your brain doesn't teach you the guitar at night. It clears the room so you can hear yourself play. And that same nightly cleanup seems to be exactly where dreams come from. Now hold that thought, because there's a place where dream logic leaks straight into your waking hours, and you felt it more times than you'd probably admit. You walk into a room you've never visited, or you're mid-conversation with someone, and your whole body seizes with a certainty that makes no sense. I have done this before, not something similar. This exact moment. Same words, same light, same feeling in your chest. Then it's gone within 3 seconds, leaving you slightly unsettled for the rest of the day. Déjà vu. Ask around and you'll find how many people, quietly, half embarrassed, say some version of the same thing. I think I dreamed this once, not as a joke, as a specific nagging memory of once dreaming this exact hallway, this exact sentence, months or years before actually living it. Nobody can usually prove it, because most dreams evaporate before breakfast, leaving behind nothing but the feeling of a puzzle piece clicking into a socket you didn't know was there. One leading theory says that instinct is closer to correct than we give it credit for, minus the mysticism. Your brain seems to file away far more dreams than you ever consciously recall, tucked into a kind of shallow storage that never fully surfaces. Then, sometime later, you live through a fragment of one of those buried dreams, and your memory system briefly misfires, tagging the present moment as something already experienced. Not because you glimpsed the future through anything supernatural, because some part of you already rehearsed a piece of it once, at night, and simply forgot the rehearsal. Which means déjà vu might not be a glitch happening in isolation. It might be the one moment each week when your dream life and your waking life accidentally touch in daylight, close enough for you to feel the seam. Researchers studying certain forms of epilepsy found something that fits this uncomfortably well. Stimulating a small region deep in the temporal lobe, the exact region heavily involved in both memory and dreaming, could trigger déjà vu on command, like flipping a switch. The feeling is real, physical, and locatable, and it lives in the same neighborhood of the brain responsible for building your dreams in the first place. Then there's the harder possibility, the one we can't prove and won't dress up as fact. Some physicists take seriously the idea that our universe isn't the only one, that the equations describing our own reality don't rule out others branching alongside it. If sleep is a state where the walls between a person and whatever else is out there get thinner, then déjà vu might be the daytime version of that same thinning, not a memory misfiring, a fragment of a dream from a night you don't remember, arriving late, dressed up as the present moment. We don't know which explanation is closer to true. Maybe both are, just wearing different names. Either way, the pattern keeps circling back to the same place. Sleep is where the seam is thinnest. There's a story over 2,000 years old told by a Chinese philosopher named Zhuangzi. He wrote that he once dreamed he was a butterfly, fluttering around, doing exactly what butterflies do, completely unaware that he had ever been a man. When he woke up, he found himself lying there, confused, unsure of something that should have been obvious. Was he a man who had just dreamed he was a butterfly? Or was he actually a butterfly right now, dreaming that he was a man? For centuries, this sounded like a riddle you nod along to and forget. Then modern sleep science accidentally gave it teeth. There's a documented experience called a false awakening. A person, still asleep, dreams that they've woken up. Everything checks out. Their room looks correct. The clock shows the right time. They get up, brush their teeth, and at some point, without warning, they wake up again, for real this time, and realize the entire previous sequence was still the dream. Sometimes this happens in layers, one dreamed waking after another, each one feeling completely real while it lasted. This forces an uncomfortable question that René Descartes wrestled with centuries before any of this had a scientific name. If a dream can convincingly reproduce sight, sound, memory, emotion, and the steady, boring continuity of an ordinary morning, then what exactly are you using right now, in this moment, to prove that you're not still inside one? Most of us answer that question the same way. We say reality feels consistent. Dreams don't, so we must be awake. But that answer only works after the fact. While a dream is happening, it feels exactly as consistent as this does. You don't doubt it in the moment, you only doubt it looking backward, once you've already woken into something that felt more real by comparison. which means the test you're using to prove you're awake right now is the same test that failed you the last time you were asleep. I want to tell you about a dream I had once, not because it proves anything, because I don't think I can talk about consciousness leaving the body without telling you about the one time it happened to me, or at least felt like it did, more vividly than almost anything that has actually happened while I was awake. It was night in the dream, and I was walking through nature with a friend of mine. We weren't going anywhere important, just walking, talking, the way you do in dreams, where the destination never really matters. Then something in the sky caught my attention. Something bright, human-shaped but glowing, hanging there in a way that didn't belong. I pointed it out, told my friend to look up, and the moment both of us were staring at it together, my vision blurred, and then there was nothing, just darkness. I woke up inside the dream, in my own bed, in my own room. For a second, I thought that was the end of it. Just a strange image, gone now. Time to get up. Then I looked back at the bed. My body was still lying there. I looked down at my own hands, and they were glowing faintly, almost transparent, like I could see the outline of whatever was behind them straight through my own skin. And in that moment, inside the dream, with total conviction, I understood something. I was dead. Not, this feels like a dream about being dead. Dead. That was the fact of the world I was standing in. I didn't panic the way you'd expect. I felt strangely clear, sharper than I usually feel awake, if that makes any sense. I walked around my own room and everything looked more detailed than normal life ever does, like someone had turned the resolution up. Then my mother came upstairs to wake me. Not to wake me, to wake my body. I tried to speak to her. I stood right in front of her and screamed that I was here, that I was fine, and she didn't see me, didn't hear me, didn't react at all. She reached my body, tried to shake it awake, and then I watched her realize what I already knew. I watched her scream. I watched the rest of the house wake up around that scream. There was nothing to do. I understood that clearly too. All that was left was to let it happen. So I did. The dream moved forward the way dreams do, skipping the parts that don't matter. I was suddenly home again, except now the house was full of relatives, some of them crying, and there was my body. And then, without transition, I was inside a coffin, looking straight up at a night sky full of stars, while people carried me somewhere on their shoulders. The carrying stopped. I was lowered, and I felt myself lift straight up out of the coffin as they began covering it with soil, rising slowly, gently, like something invisible had simply decided it was time and was pulling me upward without any urgency at all. From up there, I looked down and saw two figures standing together in the distance, myself and my friend from earlier. I said the same thing I'd said at the beginning. Look up. And we both looked up together, except this time I was the one being looked at. I watched my other self, the one still standing on the ground, start to fall. And then my vision blurred again, the same way it had the first time, and darkness came over everything. I woke up for real. This time I didn't believe it right away. I lay there for a moment before I even dared to look at the bed beside me, and when I finally did, there was nothing there, just sheets. I checked my hands. Normal, solid. I slapped myself once, hard, just to be sure, and it hurt exactly the way it's supposed to. It has been over a year since that night, and I still remember every detail of it with a clarity that most of my actual memories don't have. I've had thousands of dreams since then that I can't recall a single frame of. This one hasn't faded at all. If anything, it's gotten sharper, the way a photograph sometimes looks more vivid the longer you stare at it. I'm not telling you this to convince you that I glimpsed the afterlife. I don't know what that dream was. What I do know is this. Somewhere inside my own skull, something built an entire death for me, complete with grief and stars and the exact sensation of being unable to speak to someone who loves you. It built it with more emotional precision than most films manage with a full budget and a script. And it did it automatically, unpaid, unasked, using nothing but whatever raw material it had been quietly collecting about me my whole life. If your mind is capable of building that on its own, without your permission, purely from the inside, then maybe the question we started with needs to be turned around. Maybe the real mystery isn't where consciousness goes when you dream. Maybe it's how much consciousness was already there, waiting, the entire time you thought you were simply asleep. That's the explanation that keeps the world tidy, and most nights, I believe it. But there's another possibility I haven't been able to fully put down since that dream happened, and it drags us straight back to something we talked about earlier, déjà vu, the branching universes, the idea that the mathematics describing our own reality doesn't rule out the existence of others running alongside it, close enough in structure that, once in a great while, something might cross the gap between them. What if that dream wasn't built? What if it was received? Think back to what we said about déjà vu, a feeling that arrives fully formed, uninvited, carrying a certainty no ordinary memory has any right to carry. We described it as a possible signal, a flicker crossing over from a nearby branch, close enough to this one that for a second the two overlap. Most of the time, if that's really what's happening, the signal is too faint to be anything more than a feeling. A flicker, gone in 3 seconds. But your defenses aren't running at full strength while you're asleep. The part of you that filters, edits, and insists on drawing a hard line around what counts as real goes quiet at night, the same way your muscles do. And if there's ever a moment when something thin enough to slip through from another branch could actually get in, it wouldn't be while you're awake, guarding the door. It would be exactly then, in the dark, with the door left open. So here's the version of that night I can't quite let go of. Somewhere, on some branch close enough to this one that the boundary between us is thinner than it should be, another version of me was actually dying. Not a metaphor, an ending. And for a handful of minutes, while my own edges were down and my own identity had already dissolved for the night the way it does every night, something crossed over. Not a warning, not a message meant for me, just a record. The last few minutes of somebody's life, somebody built from the same raw material as me, arriving in the one place structured enough to receive it and unstructured enough to let it in. There's a reason so many cultures, completely disconnected from each other by centuries and oceans, arrived independently at the same comparison. Sleep as a small death, not as superstition, as observation. Every night you practice letting go of your body's control. Every night your identity dissolves and has to be rebuilt from scratch using memory as the only blueprint. Every night something in you constructs an entire world, populates it with people, gives you a body to move through it, and convinces you completely that none of it is constructed at all. Maybe that's the actual function underneath all the neuroscience. Not just memory consolidation, not just emotional processing, though it's clearly both of those things too. Maybe dreaming is also, quietly, a rehearsal. A nightly reminder delivered in symbols because facts alone rarely change anyone. That consciousness is not as permanent, as fixed, or as fragile as your waking mind insists on believing. It ends. It reassembles, it ends again, and somehow every single morning it comes back. Before we close, if this opens something in you, hit subscribe and become part of the outer channel. We build these independently, Every video is weeks of reading, researching, and sitting with questions that don't have clean answers, trying to find a way to say them that actually reaches you. A like, a subscribe, sending this to someone who needs to hear it tonight, that's what keeps this going. You are going to fall asleep again tonight. Your name will stop mattering. Your body will go quiet, held down by a paralysis your own brainstem installed for exactly this purpose. And somewhere behind your closed eyes, without asking your permission, something is going to start building a world. It might be nothing. Random noise, chemical housekeeping, evolution's leftover static, or it might be the only time all day that the deeper, older, less defended part of you finally gets a turn to speak. Either way, you won't be able to prove which one it is while it's happening. You never can. That's the part nobody tells you when you're a kid learning to fall asleep for the first time, back before any of this needed explaining. Every single night, without fail, you close your eyes and walk into the one experience human beings have never fully solved. And every morning, somehow, you come back to tell no one about it. Maybe tonight, you should.
I am here in the middle of nowhere. There is no there, it is cold there, but I am safe and I am warm. Although it's hard, I know I gotta keep up. No time to lay, to drift away. I fill my space, I spend my time down the rabbit hole again. And as I fall, I can feel the pain. You can't tell me where to go, so I don't know, I just go with the flow. I go with the flow. I'm falling up, I'm falling down, from the sky and from the ground. I burn just like below, and